It started with small things. Lauren began staying out later, saying it was work or friends from her office. I didn't think much of it at first. We both had busy lives, and I trusted her completely. But soon, her phone was always in her hand, face down when I walked by. She laughed at messages I never saw and said it was nothing important. The air started feeling different in the house. Conversations became shorter, colder, emptier. She started dressing up more, spending extra time in front of the mirror. When I asked, she smiled and said she just wanted to look good for work. There was one name that kept coming up. Ethan. Ethan said this. Ethan thinks that. She mentioned him like it was casual, like it meant nothing. But something in her voice changed every time. A softness that wasn't there before. I tried to ignore it. Told myself I was imagining things. She'd been stressed at work. Maybe that was all it was. Still, I noticed the late nights. The unexplained dinners. The smell of new perfume when she came home past midnight. When I asked where she'd been, she said, "With the girls." Her eyes didn't match her words. I wanted to believe her, so I did. That's what love does. It blinds you just enough to stay hopeful. Then came the trip. She told me her friend Monica was having a bachelorette weekend in Las Vegas. Her eyes lit up as she showed me the hotel online. The Cosmopolitan, high floors, bright lights, the full Vegas experience. She laughed and said, "Girls' trip, baby. We're going to make memories." I smiled back, even though my stomach twisted. Something about her tone felt rehearsed. She spent days shopping for new clothes. Dresses, heels, makeup, even a new suitcase. It didn't feel like a weekend getaway. It felt like preparation for something else. She said the whole trip cost around $800. I offered to help since she said money was tight after buying wedding stuff. She kissed me on the cheek and said I was the sweetest. That kiss felt different too. 2 days later, I ran into Monica's fiancé, Tom, at Home Depot. We joked about wedding stress, and I mentioned the Vegas trip. He stopped and looked at me like I'd said something insane. Vegas, her bachelorette, next month in Nashville. My chest tightened instantly. I tried to laugh it off, said maybe I got the dates wrong. He nodded slowly, still confused. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel too hard. I couldn't breathe right. Either Tom was lying, or Lauren was. But Tom's face had been genuine. That night, while Lauren was out getting her nails done, I sat alone. The house felt heavy, too quiet. Every sound made me jump. I stared at her laptop sitting on the couch. She always logged out of everything. Always so careful. But this time, it was open. The screen glowed softly in the dark room. And for the first time in my life, I felt afraid to know the truth. I stared at the laptop for a long time. My hands were sweating, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. Part of me wanted to close it and walk away. The other part needed to know. I clicked the search bar and typed, Vegas. The first email hit me like a punch. A booking confirmation from the Cosmopolitan Hotel. One King Suite. Reserved under the name Ethan Carter. Not a group trip. Not a girls' weekend. Just one man. I scrolled further, my vision blurring as the next message appeared. Can't wait to finally have you to myself. Pack that black dress I love. Her reply was worse. Counting down the days. Just need to keep Ryan calm until after the trip. My throat went dry. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. Each email was another nail in the coffin of what I thought we had. They had been meeting for months. Lunch breaks. Hotels. Secret weekends I never knew about. There were receipts from downtown hotels I'd never visited. Dates that lined up perfectly with her so-called girls' nights. The more I read, the colder I felt. It wasn't one mistake. It was a routine. An entire second life built behind my back. I found messages where she called me her safety net. Another one said, "Once I get my own place, I'll tell him." She had even emailed a landlord about an apartment on Maple Street. "I'm looking to move in mid-October," she wrote. Mid-October. Right after Vegas. She was planning to leave me while I still paid for her trip. My hands shook as I took screenshots of everything. Every message. Every receipt. Every disgusting piece of evidence. I sent them to my email, then backed them up again. I printed copies, one after another, watching the paper slide out of the tray. By the time it was done, I had a stack thick enough to crush my heart. 3 years together, and it had all been a setup. She was living in the house I built while planning her escape. I felt sick. Anger rose like heat under my skin, but I didn't yell. I just sat there in silence. When the shaking stopped, I picked up my phone. I called my best friend, Jake. He could tell from my voice something was wrong. I told him everything. Every detail, every email, every lie. He didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he said quietly, "You need to get ahead of this." He was right. I'd been reacting my whole life. Not this time. I opened a notepad and started writing. Dates. Names. Proof. This wasn't just heartbreak anymore. It was a project. A demolition. And tomorrow, I was tearing down everything she built on my trust. I didn't sleep that night. The sun rose before I even realized it. I sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by printed pages and cold coffee. Every word from her emails stared back like proof of how stupid I'd been. But the sadness was gone now. It was replaced by something sharper. Clarity. If she wanted to move out after Vegas, I'd help her do it early. I grabbed my phone and started making calls. Jake answered on the second ring. "I need your truck tomorrow morning," I said. He didn't ask why. He just said, "What time?" 6. By 8 a.m., Jake pulled into my driveway with 3 of my crew guys. They thought we were starting an emergency project. When I told them the truth, they didn't flinch. "Say no more, boss," Miguel said. We went straight to work. Everything that belonged to Lauren had to go. Clothes, shoes, perfume, furniture, everything. The house echoed with the sound of boxes and footsteps. It felt like a clean-out job at a foreclosed property, except it was my life. We filled the trucks fast. Her closet was a battlefield of designer clothes and empty promises. The vanity she spent hours at was stripped bare. All her little notes, her framed photos, every trace of her, gone. It took 4 hours to erase her from the house. When the last box left, the rooms felt hollow. I didn't realize how much space she had taken up until it was empty. Jake asked, "Where do you want this stuff?" "Storage unit," I said. I'd already rented one that morning, paid 3 months ahead. By noon, everything was locked away behind a metal door, labeled 204. I went home and called a locksmith. He showed up half an hour later, an older guy with tired eyes. "Rough breakup?" he asked while changing the locks. "Something like that." He nodded. "Good move getting ahead of it. Most people wait too long." When he left, I walked through every room again. The house was mine now. No scented candles. No stage decor. Just clean space and silence. It felt like oxygen. At 4 in the afternoon, I finally texted her. "We need to talk when you get back." She replied almost instantly. "Is everything okay? You're scaring me." "Everything's fine. Have fun in Vegas." She kept texting, asking what I meant, begging for answers. I didn't reply. Let her stew. That night, Jake came over with beer. We sat on the back deck, watching the sun go down. "You really did it," he said. "Yeah," I said quietly. She was planning to leave anyway. I just helped her finish faster. He raised his bottle. "To new beginnings." I clinked mine against his. In the silence that followed, I finally felt peace. Not happiness yet, but control. And that was enough for now. Sunday morning came. Her flight to Vegas was at 10. I waited until I knew she'd be boarding. At 9:55 a.m., I opened my phone and typed one message. Monica says her bachelorette is next month in Nashville. Enjoy Vegas with Ethan. Your stuff, in Unit 204 at Lakeview Storage. Lock code 5829. The house is locked. Don't come back, we're done. I hit send and blocked her number. Then I blocked Ethan too. My hands stopped shaking. The silence felt perfect. 5 minutes later, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Unknown numbers. Messages from mutual friends. From her mom. From coworkers. Lauren was clearly losing it. She must have borrowed phones at the airport. One friend texted, "She's crying in the terminal. What happened?" Another said, "She's saying you kicked her out. Is that true?" I replied with the same message every time. "She lied about a trip. She's with another man. I have proof. Please respect my privacy." Short, calm, no emotion. By afternoon, I turned my phone off and spent the day outside. Built part of a deck I'd been putting off. Hammering wood was therapy. The steady rhythm drowned out the chaos I'd just unleashed. When I turned my phone back on that night, I had 90 missed calls. Over 100 texts. Her voicemails played like a movie of every emotion. First, anger. "How dare you embarrass me like this? You can't just throw me out." Then confusion. "Please call me. I don't understand what's happening." Then guilt. "Ryan, it's not what you think. Ethan's just a coworker." Then despair. "I have nowhere to go. Please just talk to me." And finally, rage again. "You're insane. I never loved you anyway." I deleted them all. The next morning, her mom left a message, calm but cold. "She says you threw her out. I raised you better than this." Funny thing, she hadn't raised me at all. 2 hours later, another voicemail. "Lauren's hysterical. Please call me. Let's talk like adults." I didn't answer. By Tuesday, the story started spreading. At first, everyone pitied Lauren. She told people I'd gone crazy and overreacted. But Monica told the truth at work. There was no Vegas bachelorette. Ethan was real. Soon, people stopped texting me questions. Then came apologies. "Didn't know the full story. You did the right thing." She played everyone. Even her mom texted again. "I spoke with Monica. I understand now. I'm sorry you were hurt." I didn't reply. Lauren ended up staying with Ethan. They came back early from Vegas. Word was, they fought the whole time. The hotel room went unused after the first night. He was angry she ruined his trip. She cried the whole flight home. Meanwhile, I was fine. Peaceful even. For the first time in months, I slept through the night. The house was quiet. Mine again. And I wasn't anyone's second choice. 2 weeks later, I was at a job site on the west side of town. We were remodeling a kitchen for a young couple. It was quiet work, steady, focused. Until I heard my name. "Ryan." I turned around, and there she was. Lauren. No makeup, messy bun, hoodie that wasn't even hers. She looked smaller somehow, like the world had shrunk her. The guys on my crew froze mid-task. Miguel stopped drilling. Tommy stared at the floor. She stepped closer, arms crossed like she was holding herself together. "Please, can we talk?" "No," I said. "Ryan, I made a mistake." "You made choices," I said quietly. "That's not the same thing." Her eyes filled with tears. "It didn't mean anything with Ethan. It was stupid. I was confused." I shook my head. "You weren't confused when you booked a hotel room. You weren't confused when you planned to move out." She stepped closer again. "Please, just give me 5 minutes." "You've got to." Her voice cracked. I thought I wanted something different. I thought excitement meant happiness. Was it? I asked. Her silence was the answer. She looked down. His apartment's a dump. He's lazy. He doesn't care about anything. I realized what I had with you was real. No, I said. What you had was comfort. You loved the house, the safety, the version of me that paid for everything. That's not fair. What wasn't fair was you lying to my face for months. She started crying harder. Mascara streaked down her cheeks, even though she hadn't worn much. I love you, she whispered. No, I said again. You love what I gave you. There's a difference. She took another step. Please, Ryan, we can fix this. I'll go to therapy, I'll do anything. Your 2 minutes are up. Ryan, please. I turned to Miguel. Can you show her out? He nodded. Lauren froze for a moment, looking at me one last time. Then she walked away slowly, leaving wet footprints on the dusty floor. No one said a word until her car drove off. Tommy exhaled. Boss, that took guts. Just common sense, I said, picking up my tape measure. But my hands were shaking. It's easy to block a number. It's harder to watch someone break in front of you and stay strong. That night, Jake came over with whiskey. He didn't say much at first. Just poured 2 glasses. Heard she showed up, he said. Yeah. What'd she want? To come back. He laughed bitterly. Of course she did. The grass wasn't greener. No, I said, staring at the amber in my glass. It never is. He raised his drink. To self-respect. I clinked mine against his. To never being someone's backup plan again. The weeks that followed felt strangely calm. No late-night arguments. No anxious checking of my phone. Just quiet. Work picked up fast. We landed 3 new renovation contracts in 1 month. I threw myself into the projects, building from sunrise to sunset. The noise of drills and saws was better than thinking. At home, I started fixing the little things I'd ignored for years. Painted the walls again. Moved the furniture back where I wanted it. Bought new sheets that didn't remind me of her. It felt like the house was finally mine. I built a small gym in the garage. Weights, a rack, a rowing machine, mirrors. Sweat replaced the anger. One night, Jake convinced me to go out for drinks. That's where I met Rachel. She was a lawyer, sharp, funny, and completely grounded. She didn't play games. She had her own place, her own life. We talked for hours about everything except the past. It felt natural. Effortless. For the first time in months, I laughed without guilt. We started seeing each other twice a week. Coffee dates turned into dinners. Dinners turned into Sunday mornings at the park. No drama. No secrets. Just peace. 3 months after the Vegas mess, I ran into Lauren again. It happened at a hardware store. She was with Ethan. They looked miserable. He was scrolling his phone while she talked at him, teary-eyed. I could have walked away. But I didn't. I walked right past them, nodding politely. Afternoon, I said. Her head snapped up like she'd seen a ghost. Ryan, wait. But I didn't stop. I grabbed what I needed and checked out. When I came back outside, they were still arguing in the parking lot. Her face was red, his patience gone. They looked like the ghosts of what I could have become. That night, she texted me from a new number. Seeing you today made me realize I'll never stop regretting what I did. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I stared at it for a minute. Then I deleted it. Block the number. Peace wasn't something I'd risk again. A month later, I heard through friends that Ethan left her. Apparently, he'd started seeing another woman from their old job. Lauren lost everything. Her job, her relationship, her reputation. Meanwhile, I was thriving. The company hit record numbers. Rachel and I took a trip to Colorado. No lies, No secrets, just open roads and trust. Sometimes I thought about Lauren. Not with anger, not with longing. Just as a lesson carved deep into my chest. Love without honesty is a slow kind of death. And I'd already survived it once. Now I had something better. Peace, purpose, and a door that finally stayed locked. 4 months later, my doorbell rang one evening. When I checked the camera, it was Lauren's mom, Janet. I stepped outside and she smiled softly. "I'm not here to defend her," she said quietly. "I just wanted to apologize." I told her she didn't owe me anything. But she shook her head. She grew up watching me forgive her father's affairs. I thought I was keeping the family together. But I was teaching her that love survives betrayal. Her voice trembled. "When you refused to take her back, you taught her a lesson I never could. That actions have consequences." I didn't know what to say. We sat there for a while, watching the sun set behind the trees. Finally, she stood and said, "You're a good man, Ryan. Don't let her choices make you bitter. She's figuring out who she is, but you already know." After she left, I stayed on the porch, listening to the quiet. The air was still, warm, peaceful. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't angry. I wasn't broken. I was free. And for me, that was enough.